As everybody probably knows, there's been another attempt on Donald Trump's life. This is the second one, and what is amazing to me is that it seems to be when you look at the news, when you look at the White House, for pity's sake, it seems to be no big deal. It's just people just seem to be okay with it, or it's oh well, it's something that just happens, whatever. It seems to be no big deal. The first one they made more of a deal of it, but the second one people are just kind of brushing it off and saying it's no big deal. But this is the second attempt in 8 weeks that someone tried to off Donald Trump, and it makes you wonder what is going on with the security team. I mean, the CIA, they're supposed to be, and the FBI and all the rest of them, they're supposed to be the best in the world. Yet they don't seem to be doing a good job when it comes to protecting Donald Trump. This is what really irks me right now when I'm watching all the newscasts and 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 watching all the commentators and listening what they're saying and going on Twitter and seeing what people are saying on Twitter and so on. It's incredible how when it comes to the security detail for Donald Trump, these guys have really let down their guard. I mean, you don't see that with the former president, Barack Obama. When he has something, there's security detail up the yin yang. But when it comes to Donald Trump, it just doesn't seem to be there, or it's there, but they're not covering all the bases. I mean, this guy was at a fence 500 yards away from, I think it was the fifth hole at the golf course, and it was the fifth hole. He was 500 yards away with a rifle, I think an AK-47. And of course, Donald Trump and his team said they heard about four pops going their way. Uh, and then the security detail came, chased the guy. He got into his car and chased him down a couple of miles down the road, but they caught him. And apparently, this guy seems to be a guy who's a Democrat who is buying in to all the rhetoric that's going on. I mean, when you look at the mood in the United States, when you look at all the rhetoric that's coming out from the Democrats, I mean, practically calling Donald Trump the second coming of Adolf Hitler. I mean, they keep saying that he's the embodiment of evil, and our democracy is at stake. And these are the things that the Democrats are saying. And you see this in the guy who tried to assassinate Trump this time. You see it in his social media accounts, the same type of rhetoric that our democracy is at stake. And he's all for sending billions of dollars to the Ukraine and all this. He's a radical from the state of Hawaii, I believe it is. And in a way, we shouldn't be surprised because the atmosphere that the Democrats have created, the media have created, late night television, all that. They've created this atmosphere where people are thinking, hey, maybe I should do something about this guy before he really does something evil. This is how these people are thinking. And I mean, when you continue with words like he's the embodiment of evil, our democracy's at stake, he's a Nazi, he's a fascist, and all this. And it's funny, people that say that really don't know their history because fascism and Nazism are really the extreme left and not the extreme right. I've proved it many times on this channel that Nazism and fascism are extreme is extreme socialism. It's one step away from full blown communism. It's on the left, not the right, but these people don't know that. They just believe everything that their, college professor tells them and puts in their heads. But this continued rhetoric, it's no wonder there's been a second attempt on Donald Trump's life with the atmosphere that's going on in the United States today. Now, we have been saying here time and time again, and if you don't believe me, just go to our library there and our YouTube channel and look up the King of the North. I just put up a video just recently on NATO prophesied in the Bible. And now NATO, we link NATO with the King of the North in Daniel, the 11th chapter, verses 40 through 45. And we've proved it time and time again in our literature, in our videos. We quote from the Bible. We show you in history, Bible prophecy, that the President of the United States is the King of the North. And who else could be the King of the North that has this kind of power? When you read the prophecy of the King of the North in Daniel, the 11th chapter, verse 40, where it says, at the time of the end, which is our day right now, the time of the end, the king of the south shall push at him. That's the king of the north. And he shall come against him. The king of the north comes against the king of the south like a whirlwind, with chariots and horsemen, with many ships. He shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. He shall enter into the glorious land, and many countries shall be overthrown. But these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom, Moab, and the chief children of Ammon. And he shall stretch his hand also upon the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. And he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver. That's the economies of these people. And over the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall be at his steps, or at his submission. Who else has that kind of power than the President of the United States? The most powerful office on this planet right now. Now, of course, things are starting to change, but it's still the most important office. The United States heads NATO. The United States founded NATO. It was called the Washington Treaty right after World War II. It was called the Washington Treaty. The United States gives the most money into NATO. So it funds NATO for the most part. So the United States, the President of the United States, is the leader of NATO. And we have proven over and over again that NATO is the king of the North, as we see in Daniel, the 2nd chapter. The two legs of iron. And we get down to the feet and toes, part potter's clay and part iron. Now, the iron we know is Europe, the Roman Empire. The potter's clay, and this is where we get into the master key to prophecy. All prophecy becomes unlocked when you understand the identity of the modern peoples today, of the United States and Britain, when you understand their identity in the Bible. It says the potter's clay. We understand in Jeremiah, the 18th chapter, verse 6, the potter's clay means the house of Israel. Who is the house of Israel today? Now, we've proven time and time again in our booklet, The United States and Britain in Prophecy, that the house of Israel is the modern day peoples called America and Britain today. And I urge you to download that booklet off our website, britishisrael.ca, free of charge. We prove to you that we are the house of Israel. And we see Daniel 2, the iron with the potter's clay. And it says the kingdom shall be divided. And it'll be partly strong and partly broken. We have strong nations in NATO. We have weak nations in NATO. And the kingdom shall be divided. It is divided between two alliances, the EU and NATO. The EU being a a financial bloc of those NATO nations. And then we have NATO, which is the military alliance of all the European and Canadian and American countries. So the kingdom shall be divided. And of course, when they try to make a decision, continually NATO is divided, especially when it comes to Turkey. Turkey's always against the decisions of the Northwestern European countries in that alliance. Now, I did just recently a video called Turkey in Bible Prophecy, and of course the booklet as well. You can take a look at that on our YouTube channel, Turkey in Prophecy. And we show you that Turkey will betray his brother Jacob, Britain, and America in the Great Tribulation. We're seeing a little bit of that now when it comes to letting, was it Sweden and Finland in NATO, and everybody wanted Finland and Sweden in NATO, but Turkey kept blocking it. Turkey's always disagrees with the European nations and America. We also see Turkey making alliances with Russia, Iran, China, who are enemies of NATO. I mean, they're sworn enemies of NATO. There's no disputing that. Everybody knows about the United States and Iran. Everybody knows about what's going on in the Ukraine, the European nations, and Canada and America against Russia. And they've ramped up the rhetoric once again. And Putin says if you go any farther, if you start shooting your missiles into Russia, that means we're going to go into full blown World War III. And last year, NATO said that China is also an enemy of NATO. And here we see a NATO partner, Turkey, betraying its allies and doing business with Russia, doing business with Iran, doing business with China. Unbelievable. So if you want to take a look at that, Turkey and Prophecies on our website or on our YouTube channel. So here we see, and we know that the King of the North is the President of the United States. Now, we have shown time and time again that Daniel, the 11th chapter, verses 40 through 44, has already been fulfilled. Verses 40 through 43 took place during the Gulf War in 1990. Verse 44 was the war on terrorism that took place in 2001. And I believe Joe Biden was appointed to close that part of the prophecy. Of course, we've seen the Afghan pullout, what a mess that was. But he closed that part of the prophecy. And now we're on to Daniel 11:45, which Donald Trump began to accomplish when he was in power, when he put the embassy in Jerusalem, the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. They put a military base in the Negev desert, but nothing has become of that from what happened. But he began to fulfill this prophecy of Daniel, the 11th chapter, verse 45, where it says, he, that's the King of the North, the President of the United States. Now think of it, folks. I don't know of any other ministry but ours who's preaching that the King of the North is the President of the United States. All the churches of God are saying that the King of the North is the beast power, the seventh and final resurrection of the beast power. Same with the Protestant churches. I'm not sure about the Catholic Church. None of them are saying who the King of the North really is. They're all speculating. The King of the North is going to come out of Rome, I heard. The King of the North is going to come out of Germany. The King of the North is going to come out of, whatever. They're all speculating. But when you look at this prophecy, it is obvious, when you put all the scriptures together, that the only one who could fulfill this prophecy of the King of the North is the President of the United States. This is NATO, the potter's clay phase. Remember, we get down to the feet and toes of Daniel, the 11th chapter, and we see potter's clay, and then we see the miry clay. And it says, in the days of these kings, meaning the miry clay, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom. So the 10 toes that are mixed with the miry clay are going to fight Christ at his coming. Now, notice what it says here, and that's after the tribulation during the day of the Lord. Notice what it says here, Daniel, the 11th chapter, verse 45. It says, he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. That's before the tribulation. Because it says, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince that stands for the children of your people. And then it says, and there should be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. That's the great tribulation. But it says the 10 toes mixed with miry clay fight Christ at his coming. That's after the tribulation during the day of the Lord. You can read that in Matthew, the 24th chapter, verse 29 through 31. So that's the miry clay phase that ends at the second coming of Jesus Christ. That means that here, when the King of the North comes to his end before the tribulation, that means that's the potter's clay phase, NATO. And NATO's going to come to his end. The sixth head of the beast, which is EU, the EU is going to come to its end. It's all going to unravel, folks. And then comes the seventh and final resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire that's going to be led by Germany or Austria. And I'm going to do pretty soon, I'm going to do a new video on the little horn of Daniel, the eighth chapter. Now, many people think that the little horn in Daniel, the eighth chapter, is the same as the little horn in Daniel, the seventh chapter, but it's not true. You see that the little horn in the seventh chapter of Daniel remains a little horn, but the little horn in Daniel, the eighth chapter, it says grows great. It doesn't stay a little horn. Now we know the little horn in Daniel 7 is the papacy, and it has stayed a little horn. It had its papal states, and some of its papal states got taken away from it, but it remained a little horn. The little horn in Daniel 8 grows great, and Antiochus Epiphanes was a shadow of the coming little horn. And I also show, and I have a booklet online if you want to order it. I also show that Hitler was part of that prophecy as well. But then we come to the final fulfillment in the end time of this little horn of Daniel 8 that's going to grow great. And it's going to lead a 10-nation combine, possibly called a United States of Europe. A 10-nation combine mixed with the miry clay. So I'll try and do that video as soon as I can. And when I'm ready to do it, I'll let everybody know. And you can you can watch it when I upload it. You can watch it on YouTube. So stay tuned for that. So we know that NATO is going to come to his end. It says here, he shall plant the tabernacles of his palace, verse 45 of Daniel 11, between the seas and in the glorious holy mountain. The tabernacles of his palace, meaning military occupation. It can also mean embassies, military bases in Israel. And that started a little bit with Donald Trump. Then Biden came in, put an end to the Afghan war, and the embassy is still there. The military base is still there, but nothing's come of it. But then it says, when we see that, when we see NATO come in and occupy the nation of Israel to save it, and I did a video called Judah Shall Be Broken, and I show you that NATO comes in to save Judah, that Judah would be under attack, and Judah's under attack right now. And it's going to get to the point where NATO has to come in and save Judah. And when that happens, and this is what you're reading here, it says, yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. Notice it's a he. It is not a woman. Now, as I said, if Kamala Harris becomes president, which I doubt, but if she becomes president of the United States, well, then this prophecy is not going to be fulfilled. It says it's a he. He shall come to his end, and none shall help him. So if Kamala becomes president, well, then I guess this prophecy is going to be delayed. But I do believe, this is my own personal belief, it's not doctrine or anything. The doctrine is the king of the north is going to plant military bases in Israel. That's the doctrine. But God doesn't reveal who it's going to be, when it's going to happen, because God does it in a certain way where he fulfills, he brings about his prophecies his way, and not by some preacher who says it's going to happen this way, and the prophecy comes about because he said so. No, God brings about his prophecies his way. So he gives us details, he gives us generalities, but we don't know who, we don't know when. All we know is it's the president of the United States. We put the prophecies together. All we know is the president of the United States. Which president, I don't know. And it says he shall come to his end, and none shall help him. Now, when you look at other prophecies of the king of the north, we see that he is pro-Israel, he is pro-military, he is pro-Christian. And the only one I can see that can fulfill this prophecy is Donald Trump. I personally believe Donald Trump is going to fulfill this prophecy. It's not doctrine. That's when I look at things and I see things the way they are. That's how I see it. But who knows? God could surprise us. Who maybe before Joe Biden leaves office, maybe he'll fulfill that prophecy. We don't know. All we're going to have to do is just sit back, put our prophetic glasses on, read these prophecies, and see how God brings it about. We don't know who it's going to be. We don't know when it's going to be. All we know is that it's going to happen. By who and when, we're just going to have to wait and see. That's just the way the prophecies are. Only a few times God revealed who was going to bring about his prophecies, like in the book of Isaiah, where God named Cyrus. So God does do it. He does name names when he wants to. But in these prophecies here, we don't know who it's going to be. We just know the office, which is the president. But which president we don't know, and when we don't know. God has kept that a secret. And again, as I said, we're just going to have to wait and see how God is going to bring about this prophecy. But notice, and this is how I tie it up with what just went on yesterday, the attempt on Donald Trump's life. 8 weeks ago, the same thing. And if you recall, I did a video of this back in 2016. You recall all the rhetoric that was going on in 2016 of people talking about killing Donald Trump. You remember that comedian, what's her face? I can't remember. And she had a severed head, hold up a severed head of Donald Trump. And apparently it scared Barron Trump to death. He actually thought his father was dead. But remember that Snoop Dogg with his the video where he shot Donald Trump, all that rhetoric. And I was saying in that video, and that video is on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out. I said that it's interesting that the secondary meaning of the prophecy here, where it says, "Yet he shall come to his end, and none shall help him." Not only does it mean that the kingdom is going to come to its end, the NATO alliance is going to unravel, that he is going to be the last president of the United States. But the secondary meaning, commentaries will tell you, means that he will also die. Now, how is the president going to die? There's only two ways: either a heart attack, some illness or something, or he gets assassinated. That's the secondary meaning of this prophecy, where it says, "He shall come to his end, and none shall help him." And we've seen two attempts already on Donald Trump's life. This is why I think more and more Donald Trump is going to fulfill this prophecy. But like I said before, we're just going to have to wait and see. So that is the secondary meaning of Daniel the 11th chapter, verse 45. I hope I'm wrong, but I've checked the commentaries and the Hebrew language, and they're saying that is the secondary meaning, that even when his kingdom is going to come to his end, it's all going to unravel, but he also is going to come to his end. He is going to die. So this, when we're watching this, folks, I mean, do we understand that prophecy is being fulfilled right now? I mean, all the roads God is leading, all the events that are happening right now leading towards this prophecy being fulfilled. As I keep insisting over and over again, that Daniel the 11th chapter, verse 45, is the next great prophetic event. That is the event that we are to watch for. When we see the United States and NATO plant military bases in Israel to save the Jews, it says, "He shall come to his end, and none shall help him." Then NATO is going to unravel. The EU is going to unravel. There's going to be chaos, as we see in the prophecy in Revelation, the 13th chapter, of the sea, the rough seas, and out of the sea, and meaning the sea, meaning instability. And out of that instability comes out a beast. So when we see NATO unravel, the EU unravel, there's going to be a lot of instability, a lot of realignments. And then we're going to see the final head, the seventh and final head of that beast rise. And it's going to be a 10-nation combine, and it's going to mix itself with the miry clay. And then comes the great tribulation. So I just wanted to share that with you of what's going on right now. How do we apply this to Bible prophecy? Well, like I said, now that we know who the King of the North is, it is plain that the atmosphere is there for this prophecy to be fulfilled. It is there. We see Judah under attack. We see Iran threatening to attack the Jews, and we see the United States, their battleships parked out in the Mediterranean, awaiting to step in to save the Jews if the war really starts to escalate. So the atmosphere is there, but we also see assassination attempts against Donald Trump. It's all there. It's all starting to come together, folks. And we need to put on our prophetic glasses and really start to watch world news and world events and do that work of the watchman. All right. So this is what the biblical prophecies are saying, and I hope you're watching what's going on and you're looking at the prophecies, and I hope you're reading our literature. If you want to know more about the King of the North, our literature is online, britishisrael.ca. That's our website, and you can download a lot of free literature. And if you, of course, if you're a tithe paying member, all the literature is free. Some of the literature you have to pay for, like the Middle Eastern prophecy, but the literature is only $10. So then you can and if you order through PayPal, the $10 booklet, Middle Eastern Prophecy, just give us one business day and we will send it into your inbox within one business day. And if you want to become a tithe paying member, you can do it through our PayPal link, and you can choose, there's a button there that says monthly, and you can choose the amount you want to give per month. Minimum is $10, but you can do whatever you want. Minimum is $10, and you choose monthly, and I'll just take it out monthly. Or you can join our program here on YouTube. You join our membership program, and your membership program, you get special privileges like chats, super chats, Q&A, um, badges, buttons, premieres, and all the rest of it. And we're going to try and do as much as we can on this YouTube channel. I think I'm paying more attention to the YouTube channel than I am to the website. I mean, now this YouTube channel is really becoming something that you really have to maintain, because really it is a channel, like a television channel. You know, you got a channel on TV and there's people in there, teams of people maintaining it. And it's starting to become like this here on our YouTube channel as well. Also, I hope you enjoyed that art of the interview I did with Mario Shepard, the case for binitarianism. And if you haven't watched it yet, it's on our YouTube channel in the live section. That was a great discussion I had with Mario Shepard about binitarianism, of the duality of the Godhead, of the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit being what God is composed of, God's mind, God's heart. And he was wonderful to talk to. I'm also trying to arrange another interview with Stephen Collins, the man who wrote the book, The Lost 10 Tribes of Israel Found. I'm trying to arrange an interview with him. He's just really hard to get a hold of. I sent an email. I finally found an email to contact him. I sent him an email. Hopefully he gets back to me and we can have an interview here on BICOG on the Lost 10 Tribes of Israel Found, on his book, The Lost 10 Tribes of Israel. I already interviewed Yar Dividi on his book, The Tribes, and you can watch that on our YouTube channel. I've already interviewed him. I want to interview Stephen Collins. There's another interview I did with the Church of God International. You can check that on our YouTube channel as well. And I'm going to try and do more and more interviews to reach out. It's like a reach out program, because I did start the Peter Salemi Evangelistic Association, and the whole reason for that is to reach out to others that share the same beliefs as we do and interview them, and share information, share literature, and share knowledge. And like that's what we did with Mario Shepard. I mean, he is so well versed when it comes to proving the duality of the Godhead. It's just incredible. And why not have that kind of information for us. So we learn as well. And of course, he learns whatever he wants to learn off of our channel as well. So it's a give and take process. And that's why I started the Evangelistic Association. And I'm going to upload that video to my YouTube channel, Peter Salemi Evangelistic Association channel as well, which I don't really spend a lot of time on. I really more spend a lot of time on this channel and establishing this channel. And hopefully we can get more people into this channel to maintain it so we can do more and let it really run like a television channel. That's what I really want. So let's hope and pray that happens and God gives us that opportunity. So don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't to this YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends and neighbors about the BICOG. Tell them about our website as well. Log on to our website. Lots of literature there for you to download. Become part of this YouTube membership program. It's only $5 a month, and you can support this channel, and you get a lot of privileges with that. So support this YouTube program. And if you want to become a tithe paying member to support the work, you can do it on our website, britishisrael.ca. The minimum is $10 a month. You can do it through the PayPal link, and you can click the monthly button and you choose the amount monthly, and it'll just take it out of your credit card on a monthly basis. And that's a way you can support this work of doing the work of the watchman, ladies and gentlemen, the most important work on this earth. And I'm telling you right now, I don't know any other ministry that's saying that Daniel, the 11th chapter, verse 45, is the president of the United States. They all got it wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I've read all their literature about the King of the North. The King of the North is out of Rome. The King of the North is this and that. They're all wrong. The King of the North is the president of the United States, and no one is saying that except for us right here at the BICOG. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining me here on this special live stream. And I'll see you here next time on the Watchman program.